Hey guys, part two straight away. Crypto Saturday. The spreadsheet doesn't seem to be very happy at the moment, so the figures are a bit off and the chart is wrong. But it's actually dead flat for the week, and yeah, no additions or sales or anything. And yeah, portfolio value is completely flat. But not been a quiet week. We've had the two FTX people, basically the main people, other than Sam Bankman-Fried, both pleaded guilty and have sort of, as they say, thrown Sam under the bus. Basically, they're saying that they were sort of doing everything that they were doing under the direction of Sam. They broke the law and they were doing it sort of under his direction, which doesn't seem to have particularly got them off scot-free. They're saying Gary Wang, co-founder, potentially faces a maximum of 50 years in prison. And Caroline Ellison, the Alameda CEO, potentially faces 110 years in prison. So makes you wonder why they even pleaded guilty, really. You may as well sort of go for broke and try and defend it. But yeah, that's what they've done. Always sort of baffles you a little bit how you can get sort of 3 or 4 times a murder sentence just for sort of fraud and stealing money, basically. But I guess it affects so many people, and there's probably been suicide, I guess, from some people that have lost a lot of money. So yeah, they'll see this as sort of potentially worse. So 110 years, I think Bernie Madoff sort of, they did the same thing as a sort of Ponzi scheme back in the day. And yeah, he got sort of horrendous sentence. So not what they were both hoping for, I guess, back in the day. She's 28 years old, I guess, and he's 29. And yeah, both sort of going to prison, it looks like, for probably the rest of their life. Maybe not Gary Wang, he might get out early, I suppose, but can't imagine Caroline's 110-year sentence is going to see her out sort of before the end of her life, even if it does get cut short. So there you go, lesson learned, and we'll see what happens to Sam. Looks like people are still withdrawing from Binance. People throwing shade on them and sort of saying they're in trouble. As I sort of said before, CZ's interview with Yahoo Finance didn't really do them any favours. He's just saying they're financially strong, and sort of there isn't a huge amount of proof on that. But yeah, people are still sort of withdrawing. Looks like about $10 billion sort of in total over the last week or two. So they're saying they can still take this. All assets are backed 1-to-1. So it hasn't fallen down yet, I suppose. But we sort of thought this about FTX. Their actual drop in assets was sort of well before the November crash, if you look at the on-chain data. So yeah, you could see, Binance go if they were in trouble in sort of 2 or 3 months, not necessarily now. But I can't see that happening, really. They do make a great deal of money off the volume. I mean, FTX had a lot of sort of valuation of the company, sort of 30 odd billion valuation on the company, but they didn't actually have the assets under management, and they were sort of 3 or 4% of volume, I think, or maybe at the peak, 10% or something. But Binance have always been 70 odd percent, 80% at times of volume. So they make a tremendous amount of money off those fees, and sort of the longer this, doesn't fall down, they're just making money every month and sort of could plug that hole, hopefully. Maybe not the absolute disaster, sort of doomsday scenario everyone's predicting. And I thought this was a nice little article just about sort of the Bitcoin energy FUD, as they say. I wouldn't say it's quite FUD entirely. It does use an awful lot of electricity, and some people are still mining that from natural gas and and oil and that sort of thing. But you do have a sort of growing amount of people mining it with renewable energy, sort of self-generated renewable energy, smaller operations, that sort of thing. But it was sort of, I've mentioned this before, an interesting growing market in people sort of using methane gas emissions from landfill and other types of sort of carbon capture projects. So they count this as carbon negative, so better than carbon neutral. And yeah, so new company Vespine launched this year, uses methane emissions from landfill. So it's capturing sort of emissions that would have been up into the atmosphere and using that for mining, which then supposedly emits less than it would have done if it had just been left to go up there. So, as they say, carbon negative. I do think this will, if this sort of really gets out, this will hopefully paint a bit more of a positive light on Bitcoin mining, and yeah, could be positive. You certainly are seeing sort of hash rate coming down as some of these miners go bust, and it's sort of an interesting one to try and pick the winners. I'm looking at Riot blockchain at the moment, sort of as a potential getting back into Bitcoin mining. Obviously hasn't gone well with Argo blockchain, but Riot seem obviously a lot more balance sheet friendly. They seem to be more than happy to dilute shareholders rather than sort of taking on debt, or well, they do sell Bitcoin as well, but yeah, they're sort of diluting shareholders, which is bad for existing shareholders, but very good for the balance sheet, and good for new shareholders. Basically, it means you're buying a sort of fairly clean balance sheet company that should hopefully survive. But there we go. So just looking at the coins for the week, as we say, some of them aren't showing up here, but Bitcoin up 1.5%, so nice little move. Ethereum up 4.2%, bit of an outlier. Cardano down 2.2%, Solana down 7.8%, so people's prediction that this was going down the toilet starting to come to fruition a little. I'm still very happy with Solana. Hopefully be sort of buying some more probably in the new year. Chainlink down 1%, Polygon down 1%. This may end up getting sold. I think it's another 2 weeks that I can sell that, but I have to sort of make a decision on whether I actually want to or not. XRP flat basically. Quant Network down 5%. Audius up 2.2%, which is unusual when Solana's down. Basic Attention Token 1% down. Gala Token 9% down for the week. I made the video on that during the week. Sort of struggling when there's a sort of large amount of tokens coming onto the market in a bear market, so that continues to go down. And Power Ledger up 2.75%. So yeah, flat for the week, but some reasonable movers, and yeah, we'll just have to see where we go. So leave your thoughts in comments below, and like and subscribe. See you soon.